Hi guys, so this is a happiness post, regardless of the title. No one gives a fuck about your feelings. But that statement is actually so true. And the moment I accepted and really understood that statement, it did give me a certain level of freedom within myself. I'll explain this to you as we go through this. So everybody is really inherently selfish. That's why no one gives a fuck about your feelings, because they are all so much more preoccupied with their own thoughts, their own worries, their own fears, their own business, basically. Even if they might seem like they're more bothered about other people's businesses, everybody's more very self-absorbed, if you like. It's just hardwired in our DNA to be selfish. It's actually kind of like a primitive thing about preservation. Self-preservation, fundamentally, is what we're talking about here. Like, say, for example, if you think about in an aeroplane, the plane's going down, mother and child, who do they say, the mask should go on first? One would assume the child, save my child, but it's not though. They tell you to put the mask on yourself first. That is kind of selfish, isn't it? But effectively, you need that type of that mentality, because you're not good to that child broken. Imagine now if you put that mask on and then you're half past out before you even do it properly. It's better you have to be coherent yourself enough to be able to deal with the situation. So we are all pretty much, selfish. Like, that's just that's the hard truth. And I guess the reason why I'm really talking about all of this is because I've had to come to self-realization. I mean, personally, myself, I was a person who suffered from the need to seek validation externally from other people, people pleasing, trying to be the good guy, trying to do the right thing all the time. Everybody like me, but that's all absolute nonsense. Truth of the matter is, I don't particularly like everybody else in the world, so why the hell should I expect everybody else to like me? Like, that's just one of the most, So really, what we're really talking about here is actually like self-love or self-acceptance, fundamentally. Like, because when I realized when I got to that place, that seeking external validation doesn't actually really matter. Like, because the truth of the matter is, only your opinion actually really matters. Like, who do you go to sleep with every night? Yourself, your thoughts. You can't lie to yourself. You can't hide from yourself. Really, the only person, you can tell a person something all you like. You're good looking, you're handsome, you're funny, etc. But if they don't actually believe it themselves, then nobody else actually will. So you have to believe it yourself first, because that's the one that counts really the most. Everybody else is just an opinion, and that helps. Other people's opinion, etc., does help as a gauge in terms of, am I headed in the right direction or not, or to give you something to go away and reevaluate for yourself. But fundamentally, yours is the one decision, yours is the one actual thought that matters the most. What you think about yourself is what matters the most. So we'll go back to the title. No one really gives a fuck about your feelings, because the truth of the matter is, they don't. They're too bothered about their own stuff. They're worrying about their own stuff, and if it comes across as if they're not, really what they're doing is they're projecting. Well and truly, they're actually projecting their own insecurities, their own feelings, etc. Which the key word is still, that words are their own. It's still about them. I don't really, honestly, it took me a while to understand that. And I know within myself, I did some soul searching and understood where it stems from. Fundamentally, I always tell people this, most of your issues stem from two people, your mother and your father, in terms of your upbringing or whoever brought you up, those first 7 core fundamental years. And for myself, clearly there was a lack of self-love that stemmed from the fact that, I wasn't given that validation that I required growing up in my younger years. And I've now then had to obviously evaluate that, accept that, and, integrate a new way of thinking into myself, one that takes responsibility and understanding that, it's okay. I was a child then. That was old me, but I was fine really then. And I'm fine now, and I'll always be fine, really deep down at my core. And really, that sort of just screams of fundamentally self-love, which is then going to lead into self-confidence and just really trusting myself and the decisions that I make, and just accepting them, because obviously every decision has a consequence. You have to be willing to accept that as well. But no one really gives a fuck about your feelings, so don't worry about it. Just worry about yourself. Just care about yourself. Self-care, self-love is really what I'm trying to talk about here. Which really That's quite positive, really, if you think about it, right? Because it's something that we're not actually really ever taught in society to. Because if I was to ask you right now, name me 3 things that you love, just literally 3, 1, 2, 3. Name me 3 things that you love. Take a second to just. Now, I bet you of those 3 things, myself was not one of those answers, was it? And it should be. That should have been the first answer that comes out of your mouth. And I say, what do you love most about life? Myself should be it, because, you know, I was like, oh, you think you're the center of the world? Yeah, I am, actually. Like, it's because ultimately it's my thoughts that are projecting. And yeah, so we have to just learn to accept ourselves, to love ourselves, and understanding everything was fine, is fine, and always will be fine. It's just a matter of reprogramming and shifting our perspective in the way we perceive everything. So yeah, if I can share one thing in this whole conversation is, you know, I've transcended my old self. I used to care so much about what everybody else thinks, how they perceive me. Even when I was doing these videos, I used to so overthink it. You know, right down to the whole social media thing. Instagram, it's got to look like this, it's got to look like that. What will, you know, the other nutritionists and the other professionals think about me? But, you know, I haven't quite mastered it, but I've got to a place where now I'm like, you know what? I don't actually really care. As long as I'm speaking my truth, doing my best, what does it really matter? Because ultimately, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Everybody's always going to have an opinion about something you've got to say. So you may as well just speak your truth. And yeah, so you're going to see a whole different flavor to these videos coming up next now. I just feel a little bit more sort of free with it now. But yeah, self-love. Just accept yourself, you know, as long as you know you're doing your best. And even if you're not, you're working towards it. That's all that really matters, because nobody else really cares. Like, they really don't. They're too busy with their own, honestly. So do yourself a favor, stop caring about what everybody else thinks, and start doing you. So yeah, let me know what you think about that whole concept and idea and way of thinking. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.